Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to Common English Mistakes. Don't just learn, improve. So today I've got 5 adjectives which all have quite a similar meaning. However, the context in which we use these is often quite different. So often when students use them, they sound quite strange. We're going to learn the meaning of each word, but also more importantly, when to use it. So anyway, the mistake I hear a lot is something like this. E-scooters are very usual these days. So just pause the video and try to correct the sentence. And well done if you said either e-scooters are very normal, but better, e-scooters are very common these days. So we use common to say something exists, happens, is seen or done frequently. And context-wise, I would use this to say what you see in society or in a country in the world, rather than for people personally. For example, biting your fingernails is a very common habit. A lot of people do it in society. Also, we often use this as the phrase common to see. So for example, it's very common to see people having barbecues in the park in my city in summer. So that's common. When do we use usual? Just have a look at this sentence and think, what am I saying here with my usual breakfast is tomatoes and olive oil on toast? And well done here if you said we use usual for what is normal or routine in a particular situation. And this one we're going to use much more to talk about people personally. So my usual breakfast, I went to my usual cafe, or maybe my usual weekend is going to the park and seeing friends. The main thing here, I would say, is to use usual with a noun. It sounds a lot more natural to say my usual breakfast rather than I had tomatoes on toast, which is usual. Sounds a bit funny. Use it with a noun, you're going to sound a lot more natural. And then moving on to normal, which means what is expected or not different, not unusual. The thing is with normal, it's very general and you can use it in most contexts. For example, e-scooters are very normal and my normal breakfast is tomatoes on toast. However, I would just use it for when things, like we said, are what is expected. For example, we had a lot of rain last month, but that's normal for this time of year. At Christmas, it was 20 degrees, that's not normal. And then we also have a nice collocation, which is using it with perfectly. For example, it's perfectly normal to feel tired at the end of the week. And then a couple more. We have typical, which means a good representation of something. For example, a typical French breakfast is a croissant and jam. Or maybe you use it as a phrase typical of something or someone. For example, he was 1 hour late. That's typical of him. And finally, we have ordinary, which means not special. Often you might use this in a negative context. For example, the food at that restaurant is pretty ordinary. Good collocation with pretty. But often you can just use it normally. For example, ordinary people have a difficult life these days. So that's the explanation over. The main thing to watch out for is to use common to talk about the world, what you see a lot. Usual to talk more about personal things and use it with a noun. And normal we can just use generally. So maybe if you're not sure, just use normal. So before we get to the exercise, once again, if you're finding this video useful, please do like, subscribe, maybe share the video with your friends, other people you might find it useful, help this channel grow. It'd be much appreciated, guys. So when you're ready, let's practice and improve. Just pause the video and put one of the adjectives from today's lesson into these sentences and try to use the one with the best fit, the one which has the most specific meaning. And well done. If you said a typical breakfast in my country is muesli, maybe you could say common, but I think typical is best here. Last week I bought an ordinary plain t-shirt. It's very common to see graffiti in the centre of my city. That nice phrase, common to see. And then it's perfectly normal to feel nervous before an exam. That nice collocation, perfectly normal. My usual bedtime is 11 p.m. on weekdays. And finally, electric vehicles are quite common these days. Common, you see them a lot. So now just pause the video and write, say, or discuss the same sentences for you. And finally, today's question, what is common to see in your city or country? Do write those answers in the comments, guys. Good chance to practice. Helps me, helps you. So that's basically it for today. Common, usual, normal, I hear a lot of mistakes and a lot of confusion with. So make sure you use common to talk about the world, what you see often. Usual to talk more about personal routine and use it with a noun. And normal, you're just going to use generally. If you remember that, you're going to avoid most mistakes. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. Do make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video in the next couple of days. Until then, see ya!